I don't want to burp on
That's a big part of what I cut out in videos often is me burping, so...
oh my god, burping is so much better post-tea. Since transitioning, I've been like...
Hello, I'm Jackson Bird, and welcome to another installment of my Queer Story series. Today, I am joined by legal assistant and aspiring lawyer, Ryan Rasdall. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
You know what you're saying. Like,
yes.
You are educated, you've done your research, but...
I'm also not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer.
If Ryan says something and you're like, that's not right, or I don't know, like whatever.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, Ryan, how do you identify?
I identify as a black trans guy.
The common narrative for trans men tends to be when we transition, we kind of get a greater understanding of male privilege, and a lot of us talk about how much less harassment and discrimination we face, but I found that like usually the guys who are saying that are white. So what has your experience as a black trans man, how's that been different?
I definitely experienced the male privilege.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people listen to you more.
Yeah.
Even just like physically walking through the world, people like move out of your way.
Mm-hmm.
But as a black guy walking through the world, it's definitely a different experience. Given all the events that have been happening and just in general,
Mm-hmm.
I think you went from a young age as a black person that like you're just policed in a different way. And so even more so as a black man and being read as a black man, I feel like I am, you know, stared at longer. I live in a neighborhood that's already heavily policed, and I can't speak for all black trans guys or all trans people of color, but definitely for me, I'm definitely more hyper aware of where my hands are, and especially like going into stores if I have like a backpack on me, if I'm going up and down lanes, and that's something I've experienced all my life, but I feel like it's been hyped up since transitioning. So I always try to just be as in my best way. I feel like, you know, making other people comfortable, and that's something that I constantly have to think about.
What are some of the challenges that trans people do face when they're changing their name?
Because birth certificates are done state by state,
Mm-hmm.
there's no like one way that everyone can, you know, change their birth certificate and change their name.
Which makes it so much more complicated.
Makes it so much more complicated. And I'm thinking now also, I think I might be overlaying this with gender marker changes as well.
Yeah.
Which require sometimes doctor's letters.
Again, depending on the state.
Again,
different
depending on the
requirements.
state, there are some states that won't even allow you to change your gender marker because that's the law of that state. And so,
wow.
you know, there are trans people who are struggling to, you know, be seen in the world as who they are and to change their names accordingly. And this is important for employment, just important for themselves and to affirm like this is who I am and this is who I will be in the world. It's really
just
hard.
such a mess. Yeah, like I know I was born in Michigan. I haven't even begun to look at like what I would have to do there to change my birth certificate.
I lucked out. My mom named me Ryan.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I
my
didn't
birth
know that.
certificate has an F on it. And she named me Ryan, Ryan, from birth.
Wow.
And when I was a kid, I hated my name. I hated it. I was like, this is a boy's name. Like, I don't fit in. I think that was just my way of being like, I get teased about this, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm experiencing it, you know, kind of in reverse for a lot of trans people. It was like, I hated my name when I was a kid because I was very much, you know, socialized to be a girl, and I was being a girl in the world, and I was being teased for having that name. And now, I love my name.
Yeah.
And I am not going to change it. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, should I change my name? I was like, no, absolutely love Ryan.
And all of this costs a lot of money, which trans people in particular are like more likely to not have the money to be able to afford things like
Absolutely.
this.
I think a new passport is like $120 or something, or $150. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me. New York City is one of the few places where you can now get an ID made for free through the city, and you can choose if you want male or female, or you can even leave it blank.
Yeah, and I know the New York City ID like that is also very helpful for undocumented people to have
Yes.
some form of ID for them, photo
Absolutely.
ID that's in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are U.S. prisons currently required to provide for incarcerated trans people, and what do you think an ideal world would look like there?
So that's a complex issue. So state prisons and state jails are subject to that state's own administrative bodies and laws. And so trans people are treated across the board very differently depending on where they are being incarcerated, in terms of if that, you know, jail or prison is going to house them according to their gender identity, if that institution is going to respect them enough to provide them with hormones. And I know that obtaining surgery for a lot of folks is also something people have been seeking out, but there has not a lot of history to people being successful in that manner. There's a few cases I know of where some trans people are challenging the states to get hormones, saying it's medically necessary, and same for surgery. But state by state it varies. Federally, the protections that I know about are through PREA, which is the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which was passed unanimously by Congress, basically saying that if you are incarcerated by the federal government, you have the right to be free of like sexual assault, bodily harm, and that's the government and the state's job in those institutions to ensure that you're safe. PREA is the law, but unfortunately, trans people are still experiencing a lot of violence and attacks on their safety.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, okay, yeah, that law sounds great, but like, how does that really help?
Especially trans women of color are experiencing the denials of their humanity, denials to safety, denial to hormones and surgery. And so, because there are higher rates of policing in communities of color, you'll see a lot of that represented in our prison system.
There's so many things we gotta fix in this country, man.
So many.
Are you ready for the lightning round?
Lightning round.
Okay.
Boom, boom, pow.
What is Title IX?
Title IX is a federal law that states that discrimination based on sex is illegal in federally funded institutions. So like schools and such.
Who's your favorite Rocky Horror Picture Show character?
I actually don't know it well enough to name a character. I've only seen it once.
Oh,
I went to a fantastic performance. I went to Smith.
Okay.
And there was a theater downtown, and I went to that theater, and I was just talking about this the other day, and they you paid for your ticket, and then you got the baggie full of all the things to use to interact.
Toast and
to interact with the movie. That was my first and also my last time seeing the film, so I don't know it well enough, and I'm sorry.
I have to apologize.
I promise to rewatch it. I promise to get back to you and let you know.
Thanks, thank you. If you were a pasta, what type of pasta would you be?
Ooh, lasagna, like the lasagna pasta.
Oh, so the just
long,
big and flat. Yeah.
Ones.
Okay, but a little wavy. You got some personality.
A little wavy, and there's always awesome things around the lasagna pasta.
So you like hanging out around awesome people.
Cool people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Well, I still have you here today. What is one thing that people watching can do to take action?
If you're an ally, I would say if you know any trans people, definitely. Listen to them. Listen to their story. If you're an ally or a trans person with the means, I would definitely, look and try to find, trans-led organizations that center trans women of color. I think if we center the people who are the most marginalized in our community, then all of us do a lot better. And so, organizations like the Trans Women of Color Collective, the National Center for Transgender Equality. Around this bathroom issue around North Carolina and HB2, when we're telling trans people that they can't use the correct bathroom, what we're really saying is we don't believe you. In a community that has 41% suicide attempt rates, high rates of poverty, it's really, really important that we say we believe you. We know who you are, and it's okay to be who you are. And so we have to, step up and say that, discriminating against trans people in this way is not right. Just affirm trans people.
Yeah.
Affirm them and support them if you can financially. Support the organizations that are doing this work on the ground. That's what my advice would be.
That's amazing. That's so good. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ryan.
No problem.
To everyone watching, I want to know if you were a pasta, what pasta would you be? Let us know in the comments down there. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future Queer Story videos. Again, thank you, Ryan. And thanks to all of you for watching. I'll see you next time.